I'm going to wait for more people. Oh yeah, okay. So hello everyone and welcome to our webinar. And I'm really happy you are here today. And our topic is something that many people struggle with but often don't talk about it openly. And it is learning to say no and protecting yourself without guilt. Many people believe that saying no means being selfish, rude, uncaring, or disappointing. Because of this belief, they continue saying yes even when they feel exhausted, overwhelmed, or emotionally drained. So, today we will explore why saying no feels so difficult for people, where guilt comes from, how boundaries protect our relationships, and we will also talk about practical ways to say no with confidence and compassion. And by the end of this webinar, I hope you will see that saying no is not about rejecting people, it's about respecting yourself. So let's begin with an important question. Why do so many people struggle with saying no? Of course, there are several psychological explanations. I think the most common one is the need to belong. As you know, humans are social beings. Our brains are designed to seek connection and acceptance. And for thousands of years, belonging to a group was essential for survival. And because of this, rejection can feel threatening sometimes. And when we think about saying no to others, our brain may automatically create thoughts like, they will be upset with me, they will think I don't care, they will think I'm selfish, or they won't like me anymore. And I just want you to complete these sentences. If I say no, blah, blah, blah. So probably there will be some automatic thoughts that appears. Some common answers are they will be angry, they will judge me, or they will leave me, or they will think I'm selfish. And I also want you to think about that. Is this a fact, or is this just a prediction? And also I want to explain the difference between being needed and being valued. One important reason why many people struggle with boundaries is that they confuse being needed and being valued. Many people unconsciously learn a belief that if people need me, they will stay. If I'm useful, I will be loved. Or if I always help, I will be important. So this belief can create a pattern where a person constantly gives support, fixes, prioritizes others, and not only because they are caring, but because being needed provides a sense of security. So let's look at the difference between them. Being needed means I have a value because of what I provide. So in this case, the focus is on what I do, how much I help to others, how available I am, how much I sacrifice for others. So the hidden fear may be, if I stop doing these things, will people still want me? But being valued means I have value because of who I am. The focus is on my presence, my personality, my feelings, my thoughts, and my authentic self. So in healthy relationships, people don't only appreciate what you do for them, they appreciate who you are. So I think the difference is important, being valued and being needed. And also, I want to continue with why do some people seek being needed? For some individuals, being needed can feel safer than simply being loved, because being needed creates a sense of control, as I said earlier. For example, if I'm always helpful, they won't leave. If I solve their problems, they will appreciate me. Or if I make everyone happy, I will be accepted by others. But the problem is a relationship built mainly on what you provide can become exhausting, because you start feeling that you always have to earn your place. So it might be very exhausting after a while. And the other one might be confusing kindness with self-sacrifice. Many people grow up with messages such as good people always help, nice people don't disappoint others, nice people don't say no to others, putting yourself first is selfish. And over time, these messages become automatic beliefs. Instead of asking, what do I need? We start asking, what does everyone else need from me? So I also want you to think about this. Who is the hardest person for you to say no? They might be a family member, a friend, a colleague, a client, or a partner. So I also want you to think about that. Why do you think saying no to this person feels difficult? And the third one may be the fear of conflict. Many people believe saying yes prevents conflict, but avoiding conflict with others often creates conflict within ourselves. We may appear calm outside while internally feeling exhaustion, disappointment, resentment, frustration. So these are maybe the causes, the reasons for saying no. And I also want to talk about the understanding that the guilt. One of the biggest reasons people avoid saying no is guilt. But it's important to understand that guilt doesn't always mean we have done something wrong. There's healthy guilt and unhealthy guilt. And healthy guilt helps us recognize when we have acted against our values, for example, hurting someone intentionally or behaving unfairly, breaking an important promise, maybe. But unhealthy guilt appears when we feel responsible for another person's emotions. For example, someone asks you for help, you don't have the energy, you say no, the other person feels disappointed. Does their disappointment mean you did something wrong? Not necessarily, actually. So, again, I want you to ask yourself that, am I feeling guilty because I hurt someone or because someone is uncomfortable with my boundary? These are two very different experiences. And I'm also using acceptance and commitment therapy. I also want to give some details from this perspective, from ACT perspective. And acceptance and commitment therapy teaches us that we don't need to remove uncomfortable emotions before making healthy choices. You can feel guilt and still you can choose your values. You can feel anxiety and still communicate your needs. And courage is not the absence of discomfort. Courage is acting according to your values while discomfort is present. So this is the ACT perspective. And also the boundaries are important in this case. Boundaries are often misunderstood. Some people think boundaries create distance. Actually, healthy boundaries create safer relationships. And imagine your home. Having a door doesn't mean you dislike visitors. It means you have control over who enters, when they enter, what feels comfortable for you. And boundaries work the same way in social relationships as well. They communicate. This is what I can offer. This is what I cannot offer. This is what I'm responsible for. And this is what belongs to someone else. So I want you to be aware of your boundaries. Also, I want you to complete these sentences. I usually say yes when blah, blah, blah. And I will give some examples as well. I usually say yes when I'm afraid someone will be disappointed. Or I usually say yes because I feel responsible. Or I usually say yes when I want to avoid conflict. And also there are some signs of the boundaries that need attention. You may need stronger boundaries if you feel exhausted from helping others, or if you are frequently apologize, or if you are struggle to ask for support, or if you feel responsible for everyone's emotions, if you feel resentment after saying yes. So these are the signs of your boundaries. It means you need more boundaries. And yeah, and I think we have a comment. Since I've been a people pleaser for a long time, saying no makes me feel selfish. How can I mentally separate setting healthy boundaries from being selfish? Yeah, also I will talk about it later. And yeah, and now I will just talk about the practical strategies for saying no. Maybe we can have a pause before answering. You don't have to answer immediately. You may try, let me think about it. I will check my schedule, or I will get back to you. A pause gives you a space to make a choice instead of reacting automatically. So you can think more before answering a question. And pausing is the most important one, I think. And the second one is the stop over explaining. Many people explain too much because they want approval. But I want you to remember that a boundary is not a debate. It's not about being selfish. You can just simply say, I won't be able to, that doesn't work for me. I appreciate you asking, but I have to decline. So we don't need to explain too much details to others. So we need to stop over explaining. And the third one might be the assertive communication. Assertiveness is not aggression, actually. It means expressing yourself honestly while respecting yourself and others. I will just give some examples for this one as well. I understand this is important, but I cannot take this on right now. So I appreciate the invitation, but I will pass this time. So you don't need to give too much details to others. It's just enough to say, I understand this is important, but I cannot do it right now. I'm not available right now. So imagine someone asks you to do something you don't want to do. And I just want you to complete this sentence. Thank you for asking, but blah, blah, blah. How would you complete it? You can write it down as well. I will just wait for a little bit. So just imagine someone asks you to do something, but you don't want to do actually. And the sentence is, thank you for asking, but blah, blah, blah. So how would you complete it? And I know it's really hard to say no. And we always think that they will think I'm gonna be selfish, but it's not actually. It's just about the boundaries. As I said earlier, we don't need to give too much details. And we can just say, I understand this is important, but I cannot do it right now. I'm not available. I will pass this time. We don't need to give too much details. And another strategy might be remembering that disappointment is not a harm. This is very important idea. Other people's disappointment is uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. So what I mean is you are not responsible for preventing every uncomfortable emotion another person experiences. So we need to be aware the difference between empathy and sympathy. So yeah, we don't have to be responsible for others' experiences, others' emotions. So we need to change the inner dialogue. Let's challenge some common thoughts. The thought might be, if I say no, I'm selfish. And someone wrote it down on the chat as well. If I say no, I'm selfish. This is the thought that we have. But the alternative might be saying no allows me to protect my energy. Or another thought might be, if someone is upset, I did something wrong. An alternative might be, someone can be disappointed and I can still be a caring person. And yeah, again, I want you to think about a recent situation where you struggled to say no. And I want you to ask yourself, what was your automatic thought? What emotion did you feel? And is there another possible interpretation in that case? If you want, you can just explain these questions and write it down on the chat box. I will just wait for a little bit for the answers. And now, okay, I will continue. And I also want to leave you with a final exercise as well. And I just want you to complete these sentences. One boundary I want to practice this week is blah, blah, blah. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big change. Small boundaries create stronger self-respect. So I want you to remember that every time you say yes to something you truly don't want, you may be saying no to your rest, your well-being, and your values, your own needs. And in that case, learning to say no doesn't make you less caring. It just allows you to care without abandoning yourself. And healthy relationships, healthy boundaries, they don't require constant self-sacrifice. And boundaries are not about creating distance, they're about creating healthier ways of staying connected. They require honesty, respect, and balance as well. And if you have any questions, you can write it down and I can just answer it. And I also took some notes. I will just try to find them. And you can write your questions as well. Yeah, and someone asked that could you share a few practical phrasing examples for saying no politely, clearly, and without feeling the need to over-explain or apologize? Yeah, actually, I just explained them, but I can say them again. Yeah, just sorry about that. So yeah, as I said earlier, you can say, I understand this is important. I understand you are carrying me, but I cannot do it right now. But for example, someone is calling you and you don't want to talk with them. So you can just message them and you can just say that I am not available right now. Right now, I don't feel good. I will call you back. Or I appreciate the invitation, but I will pass this time. I don't feel good. So you're just saying that you are understanding them, but you don't need to give too much details then. And also I want to talk about selfishness, boundaries. For example, when you have spent a long time being a people pleaser, your mind may have learned to associate being good with always, being available, being helpful, and putting others' needs first. Because of this, saying no can initially feel uncomfortable or even, as you said, selfish. It's not because it's wrong, but because it challenges and old pattern. So the distinction is really important in this case. A helpful distinction is to look at the intention behind the behavior, actually. So selfishness means ignoring or dismissing other people's needs in order to prioritize only yourself. But in healthy boundaries, the healthy boundaries are different. They involve recognizing that your needs matter too, while still respecting others as well. So what I mean is setting a boundary is not saying your needs don't matter. It's saying my needs matter as well. So it's not about selfishness. These are really different parts. So you can also ask yourself, am I saying no because I don't care about this person, or because I'm trying to protect my energy, time, or well-being? So if it's the second one, so because you are saying no because you are protecting, you want to protect your energy, time, or well-being. If it's the second one, that's usually a sign of self-respect rather than selfishness. And another important one is that someone else's disappointment doesn't automatically mean, as I said earlier, doesn't automatically mean you have done something wrong. People pleasers often interpret others' negative emotions as evidence that they have failed, but healthy relationships can tolerate moments of disappointment, disagreement, and different needs as well. So what I mean is, a boundary is not a wall that pushes people away. It's just a structure that helps relationships remain balanced and sustainable. So boundary is not a negative thing, it's needs for balance and sustainability. And learning to say no is often an act of honesty and care, because relationships built on self-sacrifice can eventually lead to resentment, exhaustion, or feeling unseen. So a useful question is actually, am I saying no because I don't care about others, or because I also care about myself? If you just ask this question yourself, you can just make a distinction very easily. If it's selfish, whether it's selfishness or just protecting myself, giving the priority to myself. You can make this distinction with this question maybe. And selfishness ignores others. Boundaries include yourself in the, equation. So if you have always prioritized everyone else, choosing yourself may feel selfish at first. But discomfort doesn't mean you are doing something wrong. It often means you are learning a new, healthier ways of relating. So there are some questions on chat. When refusing a request, should we say no directly, or is it more common to let the other person understand that we don't want it without explicitly saying no? Sorry, I couldn't get your question, so if you just write the details, it might be easier to answer. And it's harder between partners saying no, creating a space or silent time to think for a while. It's harder saying no to anything, even there's a child. But to teach saying no to your children, we still need to be an example. Yeah, I agree with you actually. And yeah. And for the other question, if you just write the details, sorry, I couldn't get it actually. I will be happy to answer it as well. Yeah, sorry. Sometimes it's easier to say no through body language or facial expressions than to say it out loud. Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah. Actually, a healthy boundary doesn't always require the saying the word no, but in many situations, a clear and direct no is the most respectful one, most respectful and effective form of communication, actually. And I mean direct but compassionate. No, I won't be able to do that. Thank you for asking, but I'm going to pass. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I cannot take this on right now. Also softer but still clear. We need to be softer but still clear. I'm not available for this. That doesn't work for me. I have decided not to do that. And yeah, people who struggle with people pleasing often prefer indirect expressions. I will see maybe another time, I'm not sure, because they feel less rejecting. However, indirect refusals can sometimes create confusion as well. And it might be disrespectful as well. The other person may continue asking, interpret it as uncertainty, or wait for a different answer. So they may think that you are not respecting to them if you just use your facial expressions as well. So a clear boundary communicates both respect for yourself and respect for the other person's ability to handle the disappointment. And the key difference is not whether you use the word no, but whether your message is very clear. Being clear is very important in communications. So, yeah, when indirect language can be useful, actually there are situations where you may not need a firm word to say no, especially when you are still considering something. Let me check my schedule and get back to you. I need some time to think about it as well. And the important part is that this is not used as a way to avoid discomfort indefinitely. So psychologically, many people confuse directness with rejection. They may think, if I say no clearly, I am being rude or selfish. But a healthier reframe is a clear no protects both of us. It prevents resentment in me and false expectations in the other person. So yeah, what I mean is a boundary is not about making the other person feel nothing. It's about communicating honestly and in a clear way while still caring about the relationship. So we need to be warm, kind, and considerate while still being clear. I hope I answered your question. Yeah, thank you. So before we finish, I just want to say some sentences. Learning to say no doesn't make you less caring. It allows you to care without abandoning yourself, as I said earlier. And healthy relationships do not require constant self-sacrifice. I know it's really difficult to say no, difficult to set the boundaries in a kind manner, but it's not gonna be in one day, so we need a time to learn this. So maybe you can begin to set boundaries, have a healthy relationships today. And yeah, it's not about creating a distance. It's not about being selfish. They're just about creating a healthier ways of staying connected. We need the boundaries, actually. They require honesty, respect, and balance. So, yeah, thank you for joining me today. I hope this webinar helps you create healthier boundaries and build a kinder relationship with yourself without thinking about it's selfish. And yeah, thank you for joining me today. And just if you have any questions, you can write it down as well. But if you don't have questions, we can just finish the webinar. So also you can write the comments. It's gonna be on YouTube. You can write your questions on comments, and I would be happy to answer them as well. So thank you for joining me today, and take care. I wish you the best.